So, um, yesterday I was I think I was eating or drinking some water or a snack or ready to eat lunch, and I was going out. I was going to my I have a back door, and I was going to open that door up to just open the curtains to the back door so I can let some sunlight in. And the instant in time, as soon as I opened the curtain and the back door, there's a screen there too, which if I want to open it, I can open it and just let the screen be there. As soon as I opened the curtains, there was a praying mantis in between the door and the screen, and I'm not exactly sure how it got in there. I was looking at the screen, and it doesn't look like there's an entry point. Somehow, a praying mantis got in between the door and the screen. So I'm thinking, wow, if I want to actually open the door and go outside, I don't want the praying mantis to be there, and I don't want. Who knows if it's going to jump on me or do something? I don't know. So anyway, I cracked the door a little bit and opened the screen, moved the screen open a little bit to allow the praying mantis to go out, but it just sat there. And as it sat there, I looked at it and it turned its head and looked at me. It like spun its head around, and as little as the head is, I could see it looking at me. So I stood there and I was wondering and thinking, like, wow, this small insect, this creature, it sees me, and it's thinking about me. Which, I mean, for some people it may not be a big deal. Okay, insects are insects, but in that moment in time, it gave me a feeling that this praying mantis somehow showed up for a reason. Anyway, and it could have just been coincidence, but as I stood there, the praying mantis turned its head back around and just kind of stood on the screen. And then if I moved away and I moved back toward it, from inside of the house, it turned again and looked at me. And I could notice the really still movements and how slow it was kind of moving. If it moved, it was very still. So I started looking up online and basically to get an idea, just a reminder of what the praying mantis signifies. And I was finding some really interesting information about how ancient societies and civilizations believed that the praying mantis actually has some supernatural, call it powers, or was sent here from a supernatural force and represents stillness and calmness in beings. And because of its nature, it has some way to that the way that it moves itself, it has some way to project that stillness and kindness, calmness. Maybe not kindness; it's not kind, but that calmness in movement from itself. So I watched this praying mantis, and I decided to, after I kept reading a little bit more about some of the history behind the praying mantis, uh, I decided to take a seat and kind of watch what the praying mantis is doing. And I had a number of thoughts going through my own mind of what possibly so much more things are out there than we are really aware of. An insect like this, when I looked up at close online, the pictures, they have eyes and they have the way their head is shaped, and I read other things which you can find online about how they find food and how they prefer certain types of foods, and they have a strategy, and there's other things you can find. And I found it just fascinating that we've observed this insect and we can determine or take away from the behavior of this one insect. It's the ideology around where possibly and what possibly this insect is actually here for, besides just eating other insects and cleaning up things. It's, like I said, the ancient civilizations thought that potentially this insect could be supernatural in nature. So, wow, just thinking about that, which is one of many, 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 many things that we as a human being have limited visibility into what's really happening around us. And I accept that. I mean, you don't have to accept that. That's up to you. I accept it that, there's things that I can control and that I'm aware of and that we've discovered through science and observation. And I've also accepted that there's some things that I have no idea why things sometimes happen the way they do, or why things have been created. And for me, I sum all that up, all that unknown and known things. For me, that falls under what I would consider as kind of like God's kingdom and God's creation. The creation of God. In my opinion, there is a God that has created everything that we have around us, and including ourselves, and the mysteries that we can't solve. Some of those hidden answers and treasures and things I don't believe we will ever find out while we're kind of living. And it's interesting to think about how all things that are around us are living, and there's so many different species that exist, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to know that there are it's kind of like a complexity, a natural complexity to everything around us, and it's soothing to know. For me, from my perspective, it's soothing to know that. And as much as I'm trying to be somebody sometimes, or do the things I want to do, and maybe I can't do everything that I'm trying to do, it's okay. It's okay, because as much as I know and am aware of that I want to be able to do, I believe there may be other things that I'm discovering, or that we're discovering, that I'm actually here to do from a purpose level. So, thinking about the praying mantis, and this conversation has gone from praying mantis and now going back to maybe purpose. And I think that I'll name this purpose. The praying mantis in ancient civilizations thought that the praying mantis was here sent as a supernatural being. Even though it's small, but in its movements and the way it can see and perceive, it seems like the powers that it have are stronger. So I did stand there for a little bit to see, just in case the praying mantis could send me some signals that I can't see, and maybe I would adopt that. And maybe that's why I sat down and said, let me watch this for a little bit and be calm and be still. And I did walk away thinking, you know what, things could be, if I allowed them to be, they could go out of control in some ways in life. Let me just calm down, take a break, walk and keep walking. Don't be too impatient. Let things happen the way they need to happen, similar to the praying mantis. And that kind of reflection allowed me to further realize that my purpose, yes, I'm proceeding toward it, but it may not be, and I don't believe it's just me alone. I believe God has a plan for me and for others here, and we're here to kind of fulfill it and live it out.